Quick little break here. I want to stop and thank our new sponsor. If you're serious, can you hear me, Adam?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay. That's fucking weird.
Well,
Well,
I'll tell you what happened. I was logging into this fucking thing, this StreamYard bullshit that never works. I figured while I was waiting in the waiting room, I would try to connect my shit.
Well, yeah, but it was weird. You saw the video was starting and then the video went away.
That could have been my fault. I'm going to blame me.
God damn you, Adam.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to the video. We're good.
Okay, let's try it again.
No.
I think it's my internet.
Oof.
Well, I'll have to fix that. If I get a better signal, I'll pop it up here in a minute. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another webinar, educational. We still haven't fucking named this thing with GTFO. You know, we're rebranding. Did I tell you that? We're going to rebrand as GTFO with Eric Obrimt for next season. Yeah. We're going to.
What about just a GTFO with Erico?
Oh, yeah. GTFO with Erico. Perfect. All right. New name. Sold. Yeah. GTFO with Erico. So that is going to be the new name of the podcast when we start dropping season 7. So that's going to be exciting. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another webinar, whatever we call this, where we take some time to educate folks on how to properly use virtual assistants inside of their company. You know, one thing that I am really bad at is remembering to ask people for questions before we do these and go live, because we both love questions. We both love answering questions. And I commit to doing a better job at that next time. So we will put some questions out or put out a form or something next time to try and get some more questions. But that being said, there was an announcement that you wanted to make that you were excited about.
For sure. You asked me before this, what do you want to talk about? And I'm not great at that. But there's something that happened in your business that for, I think, what is the third time in 6 months this year?
Yes.
A SMA employee was named the Employee of the Month at D&M Roofing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really cool. So we have all of our SMA staff comes to all of our company meetings, like our main monthly company meeting. And before that meeting, we send out Google Forms for everybody to vote on who went above and beyond this month, who did something extra, who's Employee of the Month, right? And then we like to give them a little something, whatever. And so I think you're right. I think it's been 6 months. Maria, who doesn't like to be noticed, won twice in a row. And then Kevin won this last month for all of his work on the migration of our CRM from Job Progress to ProLine, which has been nothing short of not fun for anybody. And so Kevin has done a ton of work on that, and having our team to be able to utilize that has been just like an absolute game changer. We couldn't have done it without our SMA team.
Awesome. I'm happy to hear that. And I'm happy to hear that we've got a 50% win rate at Employee of the Month. And actually, there's an important point, right? So part of the reason that I wanted you to share that is we think about the educational nature of what we do in these broadcasts, Eric, is that I feel that the clients that get the most out of their working relationship with us or other service providers in that virtual assistant space really involve them heavily as members of their team and extensions of their own organization, right? So right? And this is not the kind of thing where it's like, I'll bring you in and kind of hope for the best and we'll see what happens. But the more you ingrain them as actual team members and actual extensions of your brand within the communities that you work in, within your business and your internal teams, and deleveraging them from nonsense.
How many of your clients operate like we do in that regard?
All of my most successful clients operate.
Okay, all of your successful ones. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I think it is a really good point to bring up, because a lot of people are watching these, hopefully, or just having conversations with themselves or other inside of their orgs of like, hey, should we bring on VAs? What do we do with them? How do we interact with them? I'll tell you, and you know this, but like I have weekly calls with our call center team who does our call center or rehash they do some biz dev for us. They do a ton of stuff, but I sit on a 30 to 60-minute call every Thursday. I had one this morning, and I sit there and I coach them for an hour. Right. And the feedback that we've gotten from that and the level of execution because of those has gone through the roof. If I'm going to do it for my people here in my office, why wouldn't I do the exact same thing for my team that is elsewhere? And so, to the point, if you bring in any staff, you have to, you got to treat them all exactly the same so that they feel part of, because they're going to go above and beyond when that happens too.
Yeah, there's like, that's, what you're really leaning into is intrinsic motivation ultimately, right? Like, do I believe in where we're marching towards, what I'm a part of, how we do it, how we operate? Does it align with my values and my sense of purpose in life? And the X factor of work, which is discretionary effort, becomes unlocked the more that you can tap into intrinsic motivation and get people to believe in the vision and the approach there. What I like, as you talk about that, one of my most successful clients that works with SMA, she coaches hands-on directly that call center team and took her call center rep from booking 1 to 2 appointments a day to 5 to 10 appointments a day, right? Because she worked with, this is how we overcome objections. This is what the homeowner's really looking for here. You should be noticing that, right? And right. That doesn't that's not a wasted effort. This is someone who is connected and committed to the business and the business outcomes and wants to get better, right? And whether or not it's with us or other service providers, there's so many folks that I watch fail in that regard because they're like, well, it wasn't an easy button that, I didn't just throw in my business and drive immediate results. And so this isn't going to work. And I'm not going to make the investment that I need.
I think that's the mistake that a lot of people make, right? They think that they're hiring that easy button of, they don't need to put any work into it to make them the employee that they want to make them. If you hire somebody and bring them into your office, you're going to put forth this effort to make them the, that person that you want them to be, whether it's like for them or it's for the company. So, you have to have the same mindset when you break, but I think that I don't know, do they see them as fucking robots or AI or, you know what I mean? Like it's stupid, I think.
No, yeah. Do they, there is, some component, not to get into, socioeconomic discussion or too deep in the weeds, but yeah, there's absolutely some subservient component of perspective around staff that's offshore and staff that's overseas. And there are a lot of folks that in some ways it can be an easy button, right? Like you can get enough of the work done comfortably enough that you don't have to think or worry about it. But like, I'm a big believer, like my background in venture capital, I'm a huge fucking believer in capitalization, i.e. are we getting as much out of this potential investment as we possibly can? And is it moving the needle as much as it can based on, my inputs, my focus on it, my work with it, etc. And so like nothing keeps me up at night more than undercapitalized assets. And I watch a lot of people undercapitalize this relationship.
And finding, what the other thing that's interesting is, just, we always kind of revert back, and I always forget that it's probably like, it's different people watching us, right? Every week when we do these. So like, it's okay to talk about some of the same things that we did, prior to us. It's like, we already said that. And it's like, well, they don't fucking know that we already said that. Right. It's probably somebody new watching it, but I completely fucking lost my train of thought because I was going to say something again that I said previously. Now I look like an idiot because I forgot about the thing that I was going to say.
Hold on. I want to flag this. You look like a handsome tanned idiot though. And congratulations.
That's all the golf.
Yeah, I got to start playing. I look like I saw a ghost or something.
I had a big match yesterday.
How'd you do?
I won 4-3. Do you know what that means?
I have no fucking idea.
Okay. I was up 4 with 3 to play, so that was the match was over.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is this like a tennis thing? What you can't?
No. So yeah, let's dig into this. I'm sure everybody will find this interesting. So if you're playing match play in golf, you win the hole or you lose the hole. So it doesn't matter.
I see. Okay, you win the hole or lose the hole, right? It's not based on strokes. Okay.
No. So just the hole is obviously based on strokes, but you're not playing stroke play.
Okay.
So yeah. But I was just really happy I got to finish because I blew my back out on Monday, and I didn't think I was going to be able to play. And I lived at the chiropractor for 2 days and took lots of pain medication.
How'd you blow your back out on Monday?
Great question. I don't know. It happens all the time.
Getting old sucks, huh?
I think I was doing too much hinging at the gym and something pulled.
Yeah. And I apologies to anyone who is watching this that I've set the bar remarkably lower than Chris Derol, who was here last time, and has wonderful, fancy, incredible things to say and a big, deep-seated belief in who we are and what we do. You all have to look at me and listen to me this time.
They get to look at you. They get to look at you.
But do our wonderful viewers understand that you moved within the last couple of weeks?
I don't know. I haven't done any posts about the new house, so we're still waiting for the pool to get done. But yeah, it's been a very exciting move, and it's very nice to be in our own home again, and not living in a rental waiting for our house to be finished. So that is exciting. So we built it with intention, because we built it with no spare bedrooms so that nobody can stay at our house.
Smartest fucking thing you've ever done in your life.
Correct. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. We got a playroom, but there's no beds in it.
Yeah.
We've got 2 offices, but there's no beds in it. It's just offices and a couch.
There's a Holiday Inn 10 minutes down the road.
There's an apartment in my office upstairs.
Yeah.
If I like you well enough, then you can stay there.
For sure. I've been there. It's actually wonderful.
It is, isn't
it?
Yeah. It's dark. There's no windows.
Yeah. It's awesome. That's right. Yeah. Right where I thrive. 0 fucking distractions.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say? Let's go. Oh, I know what I was going to say. For people watching that are new to this idea of utilizing virtual assistants, what would be, if you're talking to a new client, what's your questionnaire going to be to them to qualify them to help them find what they need?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Now, usually it starts with internal reflection, right? Which is, what's your hourly value back to your business? Do you know that? Have you quantified that? Right. If you haven't, anyone should do this. You read Dan Martell's book, Buy Back Your Time, but you should quantify your value and an hourly rate back to the business. In general, on average, as an owner, you're like $400 on the low end to a couple $1,000s on the high end, right?
Right.
So, and then start to evaluate the work that you do through the lens of, was this worth $1,000? Right? Would I have taken $1,000 out of our bank account and thrown it into the garbage can in order to get this task done? Or maybe is there another way around doing that and achieving it? So
that's first question.
That's my first question, usually, right? And then when we begin to talk about it, it's like, the work that you're doing that isn't reflective of $500 an hour work, what patterns do you notice behind it, right? So
patterns like what?
Patterns. And sometimes those patterns can be like, well, my sales team can't put together a single estimate without calling me to get questions answered on what we do with X, Y, and Z, right? Or if there's any outlier to anything that's happening, my sales manager tells the sales team to call me directly and I help the team build the estimate, right? Well, we've got a knowledge gap. Like, before you look for any outside resource, me or anyone else, you should probably address the knowledge gap, or you might have an estimating issue, right? Which, like, you could throw someone in the middle of, but you still have the same underlying problem. You should solve that problem first, right?
Right.
Or maybe the issue is like, hey, my production manager isn't great at managing subs and scheduling subs. He's really good on the job site and really good at working with the homeowners, but he can't manage the subcontractor aspect of the business. So I've taken that on. And that might look like maybe you have the wrong production manager in place, right? You need someone who can master both of those domains, or can say, like, I don't have time to get on job sites, so I need a runner or I need a supervisor so that I can get back to scheduling crews, managing crews, validating COIs, etc. Right. So
what about companies that don't have super dialed in SOPs?
Every roofer. Yeah.
Did you say that we did when we onboarded? Did you feel like we had decent SOPs?
Yes, I think you did. Yeah.
So is that something that can be, once that's diagnosed, that's something that can be helped?
It is. And one of the things that we're in the process of doing now is building what we call our process encyclopedia and our best practice. Oh. So, the advantage, frankly, of working with dispersed remote teams that support workflows and roofers in, every market across the US and every delivery system and every delivery type is we begin to get an understand of, if I have a remote team, what does best practice look like to increase speed, efficacy, and accuracy in the way that we do these things. So, what we're looking at here in the not so distant future is working with someone that says, I've got all of these problems at this aspect of my business, and can you help me solve it? So that we can say, here's a ball of clay that we know looks similar to the best practice that we've evaluated based on our exposure and experience within market. Now let's make that ball of clay fit your business, and we'll train your people on it. Right?
Yeah, because you're working with a lot of different companies that do things a lot of different ways. But you can, I mean, you guys are able to like be like, hey, that works. That doesn't really work. And then all of a sudden put it into a proper SOP to be able to say, hey, will this work for you type of thing, right?
Correct. And we're not, to be clear, what we are not doing is taking this process from this roofer that works really well and then.
And that's not what I meant, but you're learning in the process of like anytime. I mean, it's not like anybody wrote anything fucking original in the last 100 years, right? Like we all steal shit from other people and then we just try to make it better, right? We learn and then we adapt and make it better.
And what we see are basic frameworks. And when I talk about these, right, what are the principal things that we know have to happen every time in order for this to be successful? What is too much to ask of a remote team member versus like, how do we get as much utilization as we can? So we can give a template to that aspect of things, right? And actually, it's really interesting because I'll tell you something compelling that's been happening in the business over the course of the last 8 or 9 days is we've noticed a pattern with folks that, so first, I want to take accountability for sometimes my standard of performance is incredibly high. And that is something that I need to work on.
I can see that.
But we've noticed at times a bit of a pattern in folks that don't meet an elite level of performance that we hope for our virtual assistants versus the team members that are hitting that elite, best in the world, best in class. And the pattern is actually behavioral. It's proactivity versus reactivity. And so what we're noticing is that, especially in the BPO world where we traditionally will hire folks that have 2 to 6 years of BPO experience, and they are coming from like leading teams of, 50 or 60 people working on a 700 person account for a major US business. Like every single thought they've ever had to have is documented, process oriented. They don't have to have a thought, right? Because everything is you do it exactly this way. And if this happens, you do this. And if this happens, you do that. And if that happens, transfer the call, right?
Right.
And so we don't have to be proactive. We don't have to iterate. We don't have to. And my number one evaluatory criteria is, do I follow the process exactly correct? And did I not make a mistake? And so the risk at times of hiring people from those talent pools can be, I've spent 12 years doing that. That's how I live my work. And what we've begun to notice around our top performers is we are in a high velocity environment in home services. They're very proactive, right? They will ask for forgiveness and not for permission. They'll never do anything that compromises our partner, but they will never slow down the process or create friction for the homeowner. And they'll be very proactive in the way that they solve problems and not wait for the feedback directly from that roofer to be able to say, okay, this is how it's going to get done, right? So we've actually begun a screening process now to hire predominantly around proactivity and finding the right people. Because it's not that they don't exist in those large BPO orgs. In fact, they're really unhappy there because they don't get to be proactive in the way that they approach their work. So we want to.
Or are you having to train them to be that, or are you giving them permission to be that?
It's a great question. So the best people in the world, like the skills you can train, behaviors you cannot, right? So I'm looking for people whose natural behavioral response is going to be like, I want to know when your brain has a natural behavioral response that's coming out of your frontal cortex that's based on what's happening in your environment and that thing that you instinctively go to do first. I want to find people whose first instinct is proactivity. And then I want to help harness that and make sure that it's done appropriately and within scope, and find people who will react to their environment in that way. So,
because I've noticed since we first started working with you guys, how my people have become more proactive.
Yes. Something else that we did. Yes. So one big thing that we did, we give a lot of bonuses. When we're working with SMA, I will bonus your people when they do good work for you because I want to catch them doing good work. When you give them a shout out, I give them a bonus. When I hear good things about the things they're doing, they're getting a cash bonus on our side. We have a big bonus program every month, which is the VA, which identifies a process issue within our client's working environment and makes a process change suggestion that improves their business and their business outcomes, gets a big cash bonus.
Jesus Christ, Maria should be rich then.
Everyone in the business, every one of our VAs is their eyes open all the time to say like, hey, now that I'm in the weeds here, you probably don't know this is happening, but this is slowing you down. And we could move a lot faster if we did this and this and this. Or like, you've got risk.
Love that.
And I see the risk. And I'm going to tell you about the risk because one of the things that we have in the Philippines, right, is we're overcoming 680 years of colonialism. So we have people that instinctively think, well, they're the Americans. They know best. I'm not going to tell them what I think. I'm sure they already know this, or there's a reason they're doing it. And I'm going to dismiss my concern. So
I've really noticed that, like, very simple things in the very beginning when I started working with my team of I was asked permission for everything. And at one point I was like, you got to stop fucking asking me. Like, if I ask you to do this, like, just fucking do it. Like, go, right? Go. Like, I'm going to treat you just like I would anybody here. Go do it. And I've noticed that, like, that has stopped. Which I just didn't know if that was something that which sounds like you were proactively encouraging, right? Or if it was just me saying, fucking stop it, right?
Combination in that regard, that's a lot of you, right? They will always listen to what you want, right? So, although it's funny because getting them to stop calling Joe Hoffman Boss Joe took like 8 years. Boy, did he hate that.
He hated them calling him that.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah,
that's hilarious. So in our Pronto group chat, somebody fucking gave me the nickname El Jefe. So they have to, like, everything that pops through is El Jefe for them. Yeah. I don't think anybody's actually called me El Jefe yet, but they probably will if they see this.
Yes. Yeah, you are El Jefe though. It's a great, you've got some great names in there. You've got like Pretty Boy and
Tim's Pretty Boy.
Yeah.
Tim's Pretty Boy and Mr. Nice Guy, Mike.
The Dog Father, I think, is another one, right?
Yeah, that's Craig. Yeah. We do have a lot of good nicknames in there. If you don't have
one of the better company chats I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
Oh yeah. You know what it is? It's authentic.
It is very real, and nobody's afraid to put shit in there, like, that even they shouldn't put in there.
As it should be.
Thank Christ I don't have an HR department yet.
Yeah. So. I am HR.
I am HR. Fuck off. All right. Well, what else? What else is anything new coming down the pipeline?
Nothing terribly exciting that we can disclose at this point, other than we're doing a lot of work in CRM migrations. So
in what?
And CRM migrations. So folks that are at this point, limited to moving into AccuLynx or into ProLine, independent of the system you're coming from. We've invested quite a bit into an engineering team and building our process and building up softwares for automations and having, a labor team that is masters in each of these CRMs and dedicated teams that can ensure that the right things happen. So if you're thinking about it, right, and historically you've been like, this has been a horrible experience. We're not all the way where I want us to be, but we've made it a significantly less painful experience to this point.
Yeah, I will attest to that too, because not 6 months ago, I told everybody and their mom that could hear me, there is no fucking way that I am switching CRMs. Like, just because it's just too much of a nightmare. And when you and I spoke and you're like, we can do this. You've got a team. I've got a team. Like, let's put them together and get this done. Like you said, it's getting better, and we're almost there. Like, we're almost ready to turn the switch on, like, in a couple of weeks. It would have taken me triple the time to be able to do it right. Because I think when other people have done that process before, they do it almost haphazardly. And then it's even more of a nightmare because you're still trying to pull shit out of the old system. And, it's just, it's awful. It sucks. And anybody in this space knows how much it sucks, because once you're with a CRM, they own you like the fucking mob. They just absolutely own you, and be able to pull all of that information out is so time consuming and so much work that they're just like, fuck it, I'm just going to stay with them. And they know that, right? Like, they build their CRM so that you can't fucking leave.
One in particular, who will go unnamed, requires an incredible amount of manual intervention to be able to get individually clicking photos and files. Job record to be able to get it out.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. So, like, that's a huge benefit if anybody's watching that is like, I'm thinking about X, I'm thinking about doing this. Call Adam, call Chris, because, like, don't do it without a team to be able to help do it for you. It is worth whatever is charged if you're actually planning on using that CRM to its capacity.
Yeah.
Right. Because, like, our big thing, I've got people, Maria's going in and filming SOP videos to be able to put into a university so that as we bring on new people, they can then watch the videos of the process docs of how to use the CRM. So everything is documented inside of our system, and you're not just watching generic videos that the CRM might put on the web somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So it's specific to us of like, these are our stages that we built, right? Because we don't use the generic stages that are just automatically in the CRM, right? We build them. We have the triggers. We have, this is what happens when this happens. This is what happens when this happens. So, I mean, I think that's such a huge deal that people don't think about. And then once they get into it, and then they throw their hands up in the air and say, nah, I'm not going to do it anymore.
Yeah. Or I'm going to leave 2 CRMs running in the same season. We're not really going to adopt a new one. And I'm not going to.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, because what we'll end up doing is I'll keep like one seat in our old one for a year, right?
Yep.
Just to give them time to migrate all the old shit over so that I can then close it. But like, that's not a big deal, right? Like, but if you're living in 2 CRMs, you're fucked.
Yeah. May see that happening quite a bit.
You're fucked. Last thing, you know what I'm really excited about though, is I'm still really excited about going and meeting everybody in December. So
I can't wait. Eric, we're going to have the best time. You're going to get a tattoo, right? While we're in this village?
For fucking, yeah, of course I am.
I was convinced, like, just as a point of reference, is this 103-year-old woman. No, she's really in her 80s or 90s. It's just a marketing ploy, but nonetheless. But you get this, stick and poke tattoo, and it's all done outdoors. And like, I've gotten a handful of tattoos in my life. This was done like outside in the dirt in a place with like not real hygienic environment, chicken shit like all over the place. And they're doing it. I'm like, this is going to get so fucking infected.
Yeah.
But it healed faster than any tattoo I've ever had. No infection, no issue.
Did it hurt any differently?
No, I wouldn't say that it hurt. Yeah.
Okay.
Got a little bit more swollen. But just because,
it was basically a prison tattoo is what you
for
got.
sure. Yeah. It's with a thorn and it is a prison tattoo.
I'm super, super excited. Like, not just to go there and like experience the culture and everything. Like, I'm genuinely excited to like meet all of our people, right? Like, that's just going to be really, really cool for me.
Yeah. That'll be the best part. We're excited to have you.
Yeah. Selfishly, that's just what I want to do. Oh, and don't forget, I found that fucking first class Philippine air flight.
What airport are you out of?
San Francisco.
It's out of SFO. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can still fly out of SFO, but it's direct, and it was like half the price of a first class ticket on United.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was like $2,500 or something like that.
Yeah, that's no problem.
That's why I keep waiting. I'm like, when's dates? Because I want to fucking book it before the prices go up.
If I put some pressure on our team, we can get the dates quickly.
Yeah, let's get the dates because we want to get those flights so we can sit next to each other and hold hands.
100%.
All right. Anything you want to leave anybody with?
No, I love you all. I hope you're all wonderful. You're all amazing people.
Yeah. And thanks everybody for tuning in. I love doing these. We will put out a couple of posts. Maria, if you're watching, remind me to do this. We'll put out a couple of posts to get people to offer some questions. So on our next live, it'll be in a week or two. We can actually start asking and answering questions here as well for people, because we know that we know there's stuff going on in your head. Maybe you want to be anonymous. You don't want people to know that you don't know what you don't know. Like, I get that. But utilize this time that we're putting out there and getting access to Adam. Adam is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to not only this world, but like the whole business, the whole business entity world as a whole. So, use this opportunity, use this 30 minutes to be able to pick the brain of somebody significantly smarter than me, so we can try and help you solve some of your business problems. Cool. So anyway, thank you, Adam. Thank you for being here, buddy. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. That's all I got for today. We'll see you in a week or two. And remember, everybody, to be authentic or get the fuck out.